Hey there, we're here today to talk about White Knight, another of the books in Jim Butcher's Dresden Files. I'm a big Dresden Files fan. I love this book. Zach, how about this time?
Jim Butcher did get rid of one of my favorite things so far in the series, so that's not necessarily a good thing.
Oh, okay, we'll have to hear more about that. Thanks for being with us, everybody. This is Fantasy for the Ages. I'm Jim the father. This is Zach, my son, and we talk fantasy, science fiction, and other nerdy things that we enjoy. This is a spoiler-light review of White Knight. So if you've read it, you'll know what we're talking about, and if you haven't, you're safe. We're not going to ruin the whole story here, but we are going to tell you what Zach thinks of the book today. Now, I want to know what you're talking about. What did he get rid of?
So
What?
generally, I enjoyed this book. It was fine. It was a Dresden Files book, so it had pretty much everything that you expect out of a Dresden Files book. If that's your cup of tea, awesome. If it's not, I'm sorry.
Still not your cup of tea? Is that what you're
It just
saying?
kind of is. Like, it's somewhere between being bread and butter and being asparagus that I'd prefer not to touch. So it's like
I
it's
love
a s-
asparagus.
it's a serviceable meal. I'll eat it. I'll be happy that I ate, but I'm not gonna go seeking this craving this.
Okay.
No,
But he is still
notably,
growing the series, growing the story, and that part, is that working?
eh, some of it. And I know that that's a weird thing to say. Specifically, he almost shrinks some of the story at the end by getting rid of a factor that I had enjoyed. A certain character kind of dies. It's a misnomer to say they die because that implies actual life and death, but a character as we know them will not appear in the same iteration again. And that's kind of a bummer because they were fun in a not fun way. I have no idea if you have any concept of what I'm talking about.
I'm trying to remember what exactly is he referencing here.
I did generally enjoy that there is a little more subtle manipulation to this one. There's more background maneuvering, and you can see that and you can understand where the story is going, but it doesn't feel as upfront. You have a good and a bad, and more of a you have morally gray and probably not good.
Okay, now you're talking about the character that sacrifices in
That's
this
the one that I'm not happy they're
that you're
gone.
sad, and I get that. I get that. That character certainly grows on you, and
Screw on Dresden.
and at the end, it's like, oh, but man, what a way to go out, you know? This is called a redemption arc.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Okay, all right. There are some aspects of the story that I really enjoy, but before we dive into some of those, can you just give us a little bit better of a gist of what this story is about? Again, not ruining the whole plot, but give us a little context.
Look, he's a wizard detective, so he's got to have a case. And in this time, it's a case of missing slash mysteriously dying practitioners of magic. The potential victims kind of think Dresden might be doing it, so they don't really want his help. But
There's
he's
legit reasons why they
he's
think he
not.
might be the one.
Well, if the legit reasons are, yeah, the guy we think might be doing it kind of looks like he would wear something similar to you. It's like, but that doesn't mean it's me. Yeah, but like people like you have been known to do this before. That doesn't mean it's
Because
me.
he does have a job. This is
Yeah.
he has an extra job. He's not just a PI anymore. He is a warden.
On the one hand, I think it's excessive and hasty to blame him. On the other hand, when it comes to the fact of if you're wrong and or rather you're right and it is him, uh, yeah, no, you kind of don't want to second guess that.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. But so definitely there's some miscommunications, some poor assumptions, causes a lot of confusion and makes things harder than they needed to be. But that's normal for Dresden Files. Things are harder than they need to be. There is some interesting action with Laura White. Wraith, sorry.
Yeah, I was like,
White Knight.
White
Laura
Lord.
Wraith. And the interplay between her and Harry Dresden in this book. I mean, there's been some things building along the way there in some odd, unusual ways through the books.
I don't know. Generally speaking, she is a serviceable character who fits into a role for story purposes, but I'm not actively intrigued by her actual character.
I felt differently about her, so we're going to agree to disagree. I don't know if I feel differently entirely because I have the whole scope of the series, but I think at this point in the series, yeah, I was already more interested in this character than I think you are.
Probably.
But I will say, the end of the story is rather explosive and a little hot.
You could say that. In fact, you did.
In fact, I did. Are there questions that it left you with where, okay, I'm eager for the next book. I want to know how this is going to turn out now?
I think the biggest interesting development of this book is actually near the end, the situation we leave Marconi in,
Mm,
and a change of status that is going to have implications,
yeah,
both with
yeah.
precedent and with what it actually is and means.
It's still kind of tough to pin him down, isn't it? Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy with some good traits? Is he a good guy with bad leanings?
He's him,
He's
and
unique.
he is a relatively successful character, in my opinion, in that you don't really need to put him into the box of, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? He's a him guy. He looks after his interests, and he will do whichever direction that is.
One of the things I like about, and you say Marconi, I say Marcone, but one of the things I have always liked about him is I feel he's one of Butcher's more complex characters. There's layers to this guy, and we've had interactions with him all the way since book one.
And I think that is part of it. Besides Dresden, he's one of the characters we've seen most often and gotten to spend the most time developing.
And his interaction with Harry Dresden is different than his interaction with anyone else.
Yep.
I mean, Harry says things and does things that nobody else gets away with. But there's a price to be paid for such things, and is Harry making life harder for himself?
Always.
Probably. Better? Probably. Uh, and why doesn't Mark Cohen just off him at some point?
Because if he misses,
but maybe there's more to it than that. Again, a complex character with layers. I
calling
enjoy
him an onion.
He is totally an onion. So an onion. A raw onion. All right. Any last shot? Anything you want to say as we wrap up on this book?
I finished this book and I was totally okay to read the next one. I didn't have any problems where I was like, nah, I don't want to keep going. So that's
Sweet.
generally a good thing.
So we'll have a Book Blast Spoiler-Lite review on that coming soon. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button. We appreciate that. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.